According to Habitat for Humanity Vietnam, nearly 6.7 Vietnamese, or 7.8% of the population, are living in temporary or substandard housing. More than half of rural dwellers lack adequate sanitation, while more than one-third do not have access to clean water. Every 7 in 10 persons also face the risk of typhoons, torrential storms, and flooding, which hit Vietnam annually.
Trong những năm vừa qua thì Việt Nam đã có rất nhiều thay đổi và cuộc sống của người dân địa phương các nơi thì đã được cải thiện rất nhiều. Tuy nhiên thì thực tế là vẫn còn nhiều nơi người dân cũng sống trong những điều kiện rất là khó khăn về cơ sở vật chất, về điều kiện học tập, về y tế, sức khỏe, vân vân. Với Habitat thì chúng tôi đặc biệt quan tâm đến cái sự thiếu thốn về vấn đề nhà ở và những công trình về nước sạch và vệ sinh môi trường. Và chúng tôi tin rằng là việc giải quyết cái vấn đề nhà ở là đã giúp để xóa bỏ cái vòng luẩn quẩn của đói nghèo. Nhà ở cũng là cái nền tảng để có thể là giúp người dân cải thiện đời sống, để cải thiện sức khỏe và đặc biệt là cải thiện vấn đề giáo dục cho trẻ em.
As an annual activity under the Habitat for Humanity Vietnam, this year Vietnam Big Build simple, suitable and cheap construction and housing project was firstly deployed in the northern mountainous areas.
Chúng tôi đã bắt đầu triển khai dự án Việt Nam Big Build từ đầu năm 2016 và trong quá trình đồng hành với các cấp chính quyền địa phương của tỉnh Phú Thọ, huyện Tam Nông và 2 xã Hương Nha và Xuân Quang. Trong 5 ngày vừa qua thì chúng tôi đã triển khai xây dựng 20 căn nhà với sự góp sức của hơn 200 tình nguyện viên quốc tế đến từ hơn 10 nước, hơn 10 quốc gia khác nhau.
Today's program will feature the New Zealand's ambassador to Vietnam, a supporter of the 2016 Vietnam Big Build, when 35 New Zealand volunteers joined this meaningful activity in Vietnam.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Showing Vietnam on VTC10 Net Viet. Although Vietnam has achieved the status of middle-income country, a big proportion of the population still living in substandard living conditions. So there are many projects to enhance and lifting the living conditions of people, especially those in rural areas. And we're here today at the event of the closing event of Vietnam Big Build, a project bringing many international volunteers coming to Vietnam, helping those living in rural areas of our country to build their houses. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining our program today. So being an ambassador living in Vietnam for over 4 years and having visiting many provinces in Vietnam, what are your views about the living standards of the people of Vietnam, especially those in rural areas?
You know, what we're seeing in Vietnam is obviously over the last 20, 25 years, we've seen real improvements in the living standards of so many Vietnamese, which is a great thing. But of course there are also pockets where poverty still exists, particularly in some of the mountainous areas and some of the rural areas of Vietnam. So in some of these areas life's still pretty tough, and part of the reason why we're seeing some of these programs, these volunteer programs where people come and help out, is to bridge that gap and to help some of these communities lift their standard of living to something more comfortable.
How have New Zealand's embassies working with organizations like Habitat for Humanity Vietnam supporting the local authorities and the local governments in enhancing the living standards for people of Vietnam?
At the moment, in terms of our development assistance program, which we've been running for many years here in Vietnam, we've got 3 areas of focus. So one is education, one is disaster risk management, and one is agriculture and livelihoods. And actually all 3 of those things are very relevant to rural communities and to some of the poorer communities here in Vietnam. So we've got some projects, for example, up in Cao Bang province, provide sort of real basics and real basic training and education to farmers to help them increase their incomes and their livelihoods. Down in the Mekong area in Ben Che province, we've been working again to help poor communities adjust to the effects of climate change. As you see the sea level rising and as you have more salt in the water, we're helping them shift their livelihoods away from things that are no longer viable into new things. So generally with a lot of these ones, they are partnerships, and so often the New Zealand government will actually fund an organisation, a local organisation, or an organisation that has a link to New Zealand to implement the projects. And then, as I said, we've also got the education part of our assistance, which offers scholarships and training to a number of Vietnamese as well.
Being here at the event today, witnessing the outcome of Vietnam Big Build, how do you feel about this event and this activity?
I'm really impressed and really proud of all the volunteers. Especially the volunteers from New Zealand. The 35 New Zealanders who have come here. But just the fact that they give up their time, they donate money, and they come to Vietnam and they build houses for Vietnamese communities, for people they've never met before. It's a really impressive thing, and something that they can be very proud of, and something I'm very proud of as well as a New Zealander and as the New Zealand ambassador.
That is the house of Lương Thị Thanh Hien's family, a female farmer supporting her family of 4 members.
Thì hai vợ chồng lấy nhau năm nay gần 4 năm, nhưng mà điều kiện gia đình là quá khó khăn. Chồng thì yếu và cháu đầu bị bại não, bệnh tật bẩm sinh từ nhỏ. Nên là hoàn cảnh gia đình quá khó khăn, thì em chưa có nhà, chưa có đất để ở. Thì phải ở tạm một gian của ông bà. Thì em nghe nói có nhiều cái chương trình quỹ về người nghèo, rồi quỹ thiện tâm các thứ đấy, xây nhà cho những người nghèo, thì em có đăng ký ra xã. Thì may được xã rồi các cấp trên là xét duyệt cho gia đình là được căn nhà cho họ về xây căn nhà, thì gia đình rất là vui, rất là mừng.
That is Ben, 26 years old. He's a bank manager in New Zealand. Like many members of the international volunteer delegation, Vietnam's volunteer experience is completely new and came to him by chance.
So one of my friends went on a project in Thailand, and I saw some of the photos that he brought back, and he described to me some of the things that he'd been doing, and so I really wanted to get involved. So the next one came along, and now here I am. It's the first time that I've been in Asia, so it's a completely different experience, and just seeing how hardworking the families are is really taught me a few lessons around that.
We're very humbled. We live a very privileged life in New Zealand. Instead of just coming as a tourist, that I'm in some way contributing and making a difference in a small way here, not just spending money and enjoying myself. But it has been very enjoyable.
You won't be surprised to see so many volunteers in the project are at the elderly age. Still, every day, the international friends are working with local experts and masons from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to complete the process of structural work within the 5 days of their stay in Vietnam.
It takes us about an hour to get here by bus from where we're staying, and then I've been mainly mixing mortar or mixing cement, so on the shovel for most of the day, and so the team can build the house and lay the bricks.
It was very hard for me. I learnt new skills. I learnt how to make a rebar. I didn't even know what a rebar was when I came. I have learnt to lay bricks. It is hard physical work, but they are very kind. They bring us lots of food and drink, and we have lots of rests.
Em thấy họ hơi lớn tuổi một chút, nhưng mà tinh thần làm việc của họ là rất là hăng hái, rất là nhiệt tình, và họ rất là vui vẻ.
Mặc dù là thời tiết rất là nắng nôi vất vả, nhưng mà tất cả các tình nguyện viên đã rất là hăng say làm việc và đã đạt được cái mục tiêu, cái tiến độ như là chúng tôi mong đợi.
This project is inviting the people from different countries to act as a common goal, which is to provide a more comfortable, prosperous life for the poor. That is a significant social initiative, reduce the burden of the government on the development of housing conditions, livelihood in the rural areas.
What is the role of Habitat for Humanity New Zealand in realization of this event?
So Habitat New Zealand, of course, has been coordinating all the volunteers from New Zealand who are here for the big build. So there are around 35 New Zealanders who have come up for the big build, and that ranges from quite young people in their 20s through to an 86-year-old who, can you imagine an 86-year-old coming all the way from New Zealand and working in the hot sun, in the heat, in difficult conditions to build houses for families he's never met. So that's Habitat for Humanity's role. And in terms of the New Zealand Embassy's role, I just wanted to provide some what we call moral support and just say to the New Zealanders, say to Habitat for Humanity New Zealand, and also to all the supporters of the Big Build, that I thought this was a great initiative, and so I wanted to show my support for it by being here today.
Could you share with us the achievements of Habitat for Humanity New Zealand have done in countries like New Zealand and worldwide, and what it can do for a country like Vietnam?
They're slightly different than they are in Vietnam because our standard of living is a little bit different from Vietnam. But they've been working with hundreds of families in New Zealand to also provide and make sure that those families have good standard of housing in New Zealand. But I think probably the main thing is in terms of they provide a channel for New Zealand volunteers to donate their time and their money to come to work in countries where it's probably even more needed. Countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, Nepal, many other countries in the region. So I think it's a fabulous thing, and you see also some of these volunteers from New Zealand. This is their 7th time they've come here, so they don't just go overseas once and build one house. They do it many times over many years, and Habitat for Humanity New Zealand is the one that really supports that, makes it happen.
What are your recommendations for the Vietnamese partners in bringing up the living standards of the poor people in Vietnam?
If you look at what Vietnam has achieved over the last 25 to 30 years, by any international measure it's very impressive. You've seen a real reduction in poverty rates. So, obviously there's still more work to do, and there are places where you still have some real challenges in the mountainous regions and with some of the ethnic minority groups as well. But I think, increasingly it's going to be about partnerships, and it's going to be about how do local communities partner with the local government, but also with businesses, with foreign organisations like Habitat for Humanity who want to come in and do some good. It's about building those partnerships, and I think through that you're going to see sort of faster delivery of better services into these regions. Over time, better education, better healthcare, better connectivity, all these things. As we've seen this week here with the Big Build, the real power of this initiative is that you bring together so many different people in partnership, and I think that's going to be a really strong model that can really help accelerate development here in Vietnam. The government can do lots, and it's done a lot. The Vietnamese government can do a lot on its own, but embracing partnerships is an even better way, I think, to really speed up and make sure that that all Vietnamese have the same opportunities, access to essentials like housing, healthcare, education.
Thank you, Your Excellency, so much for all of your sharing today.
Thank you very much.
That's the end of our program today. Thank you so much for watching us. And as stated by the Ambassador of New Zealand in Vietnam, the power and the strength of connecting localities and organizations, private sector in solving national issues is very important. And the evidence is Vietnam Big Build. Any questions and recommendations, please email to shrankvietnam@netvietv.net. Thank you and see you again.